Very exciting. And everybody, welcome to KindSoup Saturday. We're really glad you're here. I am really thrilled that we have two new guest chefs who are 20-somethings joining us today, and they're going to lead us in a recipe that they haven't made before, but that Chef Teresa, who's going to be cooking with us in next week or in 2 weeks? Next week, picked out this recipe to share with us because it's her family's favorite. So I'm glad you're here, Teresa, to answer questions if people have them. But first, I'm going to hand everybody over to Chef Danielle and Chef Marissa.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to be here. I'm Carol Wiles' daughter. I don't know, Mom, are you on? Oh, she's here. You can go.
And I'm Danielle. Can you hear me? Are you on?
Yeah, we hear you, and you guys look fantastic in your get-ups.
Well, thank you for the hat, Deb. This is all thanks to you.
And we're very excited to represent KindWorks on our aprons.
Looking
yeah,
good.
we've heard a lot about the organization, obviously, over the years through our moms, and we're so grateful for all the work that you do, and what a fun activity to get involved with. So thank you for inviting us to participate.
We're so glad.
And if anyone has thoughts about how the recipe should go or how things are going, I'm sure you already do, but please chime in. As you mentioned, we haven't made the recipe before, so we're excited to have everyone participate.
And as we've heard is mentioned often in the soup world, is that soup is very forgiving. So if you feel like it needs a little bit more or less of something, just go for it, and we can all just work together on it.
Perfect. And Joyce, I interrupted you. You had a question.
Right. It was about the liquid. Did she say to go half vegetable broth and half water?
No. What I was saying is that if you want to make the soup a little bit more like a stew and more chunky, then you can add a little bit less of the broth. And then you're going to have something that is more like a stew feel to it. That I like to have it with couscous. But
so when you say broth, you mean vegetable broth?
Yeah, the vegetable broth.
Okay, because that wasn't listed in the ingredients.
The vegetable broth?
It is.
No. It is? Oh.
It's the third from the bottom.
Okay, I will check that. How many cups does it say?
It says 15.
15 cups?
Right, so 3 boxes.
Yeah, 3 boxes.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
What I was saying is that if you want to reduce by 3 cups, then you have a recipe that is a final product that is more like a stew than a soup, which we like.
Can you clarify is this starting to cook in 2 pans? Is the butternut squash and the broth in 1 pan and the rest in a second?
Everything.
I would do everything in 1 pan. Oh, okay, great.
Okay, it was a little unclear with that. Okay.
Yeah, we're planning on making everything in 1 pan here also.
And we're using the recipe that's on the KindWorks website, just in case there's any confusion. I know there's the same recipe that you can Google, but we tried to simplify it a little bit. So if you just go to the KindWorks page, I don't know, maybe everyone is already there already. That's, I think, what we're working off of. So it looks like we start with the oil and some onions and some garlic.
Awesome.
All right. So is this anyone else's first time doing a soup night with KindWorks? Anyone else? No? Cool. Everyone's veteran.
Well, we're novices here, so it's the blind leading the well-sighted.
Tell us, I think I heard that you guys had been friends since you were very small. Can you tell us about how you know each other and what the history has been?
Yeah. We were thinking about sharing a story. Well, the story I've always heard is that our parents met in the voting line, and I'm born in May, Danielle's born in June, so we think that was probably November 1992 when we were like babies. Danielle, is that what you heard? And
yeah, I've heard various versions. One is that they met during the primary, like when they were both pregnant, I guess.
Oh.
And then one was that they met when we were small infants, but like, you know, like 5 months old or something. Our moms met, I think, in the voting line.
A very Bethesda, like, possible debate over which one was meant by the voting times.
But yeah,
But anyway, go ahead.
we remained, our moms featured here, you know, like had us do play dates and whatnot as we were small children. And then we went to Bannockburn together and remained good friends, went to Pile together and remained good friends. We went to different high schools, but we still remained good friends and played basketball together and other stuff. And then
we were on the basketball team together from like 3rd grade through senior year of high school, Montgomery County recreational basketball team. So big props to that.
shout out to Montgomery County Rec Sports.
And then they were roommates.
Go Bearcats.
Oh, you haven't gone to that.
And then we went to separate colleges, and then we were roommates while Marissa was in law school and I was in public health school. So we lived together for 2 years.
And then Danielle moved to New York, and I moved to New York, but we've kind of been chasing each other. Danielle moved to SF shortly after I got to New York. Anyway, we continue to be friends despite our geographical separation. One of the things we used to do when we were growing up, I think it lasted like 10 years, we'd get together one day over the summer and we'd do something called a feast, and we would pick like a different type of cuisine every time and make like a very extensive meal. Cheryl, you could probably say more about how overextensive it was for our parents. We'd spend the full day cooking together and then have our little brother and little sister be like the waitress and serve the food that we had cooked.
Very begrudgingly.
I love that.
And they would serve us and it would be amazing. Like we would have, but they would make a lot and make sure they wanted us to eat every morsel, which was delicious, but it was a lot.
And so they're both here now because of the pandemic.
Yeah, we're spending some time here in Cabin John, and Marissa just a few minutes away.
That's so
Joe, but I'm going to listen to you while I can say okay.
That's so fun.
So Danielle, this is Marcia Steinman. When your mom and I talk, it's always her Danielle or my Danielle. So my Danielle is Danielle Scheinman, and she says hi. Hi, Ty. From Whitman, right?
Yeah, I was like, my mom person. But my mom mentioned you the other day, and I was like, oh, actually, Marissa and our mutual friend, Leah Jennings, I think was really good friends with your daughter at Elon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Small world, and hi back to her. So I'm still sauteing onions over here. I want a little bit more golden than they are right now. This recipe seems to call for a good amount of onions.
Yes. Big thank you to my mom for chopping the onions today while my boyfriend and I inadvertently got stuck in traffic due to the boys rally that's happening downtown, which was not the most delightful event of the day.
My pleasure.
Does anybody else have adult children back home for some of this pandemic?
Forget that. I want someone to come chop my onions because my
Earlier today, I was chopping onions and my mom goes, oh, like, do you know the way that, like, my special method of chopping onions? And I was like, isn't it just asking Dad to chop them for you?
Some people have goggles. Like, they actually make fancy goggles, but I've heard you can just use, like, swimming goggles, because I never tried that.
And they look good too, Danielle.
I have my husband chop the onions for me because it makes my eyes tear.
Yeah.
So he is an excellent chopper.
After I chop the onions or the garlic, my fingers are like, if I like put in my contact lenses, it's a really bad idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
I sometimes have these, plastic like the gloves in restaurants, but it's really hard to like, you know, manage with them. But 30 years ago or even more, I moved here and I took this L'Académie de Cuisine cooking course. And the one thing that I learned is like this way to chop onions. That's the one thing I took away, other than it was a lot of work and then I didn't want to cook again after I did it.
I've noticed if I have my contacts in, it does not hurt as much. I feel like if anyone else wears contacts, they're kind of like a natural shield for the onion. It's just a weird thing I've noticed when I put my glasses on it somehow.
When I used to wear contacts, I like never had the issue of people crying when they chop onions, and I was like, what's wrong with everyone? And after I became a glasses, I was like, oh, I get it.
Exactly.
Down.
How are your guys' onions looking?
Mine are starting to look good. They're cooking down. Did anyone use a certain type of onion? Because it just said onion. So I used red.
Nice. I love using red onions for just like whatever. We use yellow ones, but I think onions are kind of like a DIY adventure.
Right.
We use yellow ones as well. Mine are definitely softer, but they're not quite golden brown yet, I would say.
Same. I have adult children living home because of COVID. My son graduated in May from college and the job market is kind of tough. So he and his girlfriend moved in with us in July to the empty nest. And it's been great having them. She's a teacher, so she's just teaching from here for Baltimore County. So definitely a strange time, but not like I ever expected to have him move back in again.
But what a gift to get to know her in a way that you never would have. And
Right.
you.
And to have time like that with him too.
Yes, yeah.
So definitely a hidden blessing in COVID time.
That's great.
My boyfriend and I came down in September because I was changing jobs and I had some time, and we thought we would just stay for like 2 weeks and like have a breath of fresh air. We live in New York. And then we were like, oh, we'll just like stay 2 more weeks. It's so nice. Oh, we'll just stay another month. Oh, the holidays are around. We'll stay through the holidays. And at the latest is we're staying through January, but it's really hard to leave once we get down here. It's so nice. And it's so nice to have the family time and do events like this. And yeah.
And to have an outdoor space, like compared to that.
Yeah. Where does your son live, or where would he live if it wasn't pandemic time?
So he was in Towson, they were living in Towson because he finished up there. And so we're in Gaithersburg and we have a couple acres. So more outdoor space, you know, to be outside and, you know, have a break from being always at home. So it's just nice.
And with work from home, I don't know what his apartment's set up, but in Brooklyn, my boyfriend and I essentially both have to work in our kitchen. Which kind of also doubles as like a living space. So it's like a really cute little, like ridiculously compact, like we can hear each other's calls.
Right.
Basically the whole upstairs. So
when I'm in Oakland, my boyfriend and I were in my studio apartment. And so it was an interesting exercise in using the bathroom as an office. And being at, at the end of the day, it's like, not like, what happened today? It's like, I know every single word of every single call that you were on. And probably like insider information for the company.
Right.
Danielle and I are, neither of us is in business, but our boyfriends both are. And so we trade lingo that we learn from our boyfriends who are in like the tech and business world, like verticals and, what are some good ones?
Haircuts. I love saying haircut, but not in like cutting your hair. It's like, like monetary word.
I always think of synergies, but I think I made that up. I don't know that he actually says that one.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's just something I saw on 30 Rock and ascribed to business.
Yeah.
I've seen
I have all my other business knowledge.
Have you seen online people being really creative with their space? Like we have more than enough space. So Nick is, in the attic area. He's applying for jobs and his girlfriend's down here in a different room teaching school. But people have made like desk areas out of their closets, out of their laundry area. They're so creative.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna start adding the garlic and some celery and pepper. I don't know where you guys are at, but my onions like pretty, they're not like golden, but I think they're like cooked down enough.
Can you see?
Thank you to my assistant for showing the onions.
Were you able to see it? Why do we have this on this?
Because it's better angle.
Okay.
Times, I think, yeah, getting there. Jeff, how did you come up with the idea for this program? It's such a good idea. Was there a model somewhere that you saw, or it just came out of your head?
No, it came out of necessity because we always do a lot with food. And, you know, so many people now are getting just like boxes of food that they have to cook or whatever. You just feel terrible that we all can cook and they can't. And we also, the piece that was missing was the community piece. And we really wanted to be able to be together and have some fun together while we were doing something to help out. So it was out of necessity. You know, we were just wallowing in misery that we couldn't really be together to like do our KindWorks projects. And somehow it just popped into our heads that we can cook together. We can make something that we can deliver, freeze and deliver, but we can cook together and spend that fun time together. That was always the hallmark of a KindWorks project.
And also so much of what we have done has been around food and has been around cooking. Food is something we all have in common and something that brings us all together. So for example, when we would set up the apartments for refugee families, we would get together and cook a meal from the family's country of origin. So if the family was coming from Afghanistan, we'd find Afghan recipes and spices and get together and cook a meal as best as we could and leave that meal in the fridge so that the first taste of America for this family would be something homemade and nurturing and warm and welcoming. And so, you know, food is just something that unites us across culture and faith and country and everything.
That's so wonderful. I know you guys have some favorite cookbooks. At least my mom has mentioned. There's the one, that I forget the title. What are some of your favorite cookbooks with cuisines from around the country? Or around the world, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, before you talk about cookbooks,
Yes.
can I ask about the pepper?
Yes.
The quantity of pepper. Is it really, it says a tablespoon of pepper. It says 3 teaspoons, which is a tablespoon, but really a full tablespoon,
right?
Yeah, it seemed like a lot to me too. I just went for it, but if you want to cut back, I think that is absolutely fine.
I think
It
it's
seems
also
like a lot.
It sounds like so much.
Later, you know, it's like you can't take it out, but you can always add more later. I just went for it.
I'm just going to go wild and go for it. Well, I mean, I think that the problem is that it's so much soup that I keep forgetting just how much.
Exactly. That was my thought too.
When
So
I saw
for everyone, I'm sorry, go ahead.
when I saw how much like broth and liquid it called for, I was like, I don't even know if I have a pot that big. And then I didn't actually realize, but underneath like most of the pots we have, it has like the amount of quarts that it'll hold. And there was like a 6 one, like an 8 one, and it was a nice little like life hack. I don't know if it's under most pots, but it turned out it was a big enough pot. Or I mean, hopefully it's in a big enough pot. We'll see. Time will tell.
My pots are not large enough, and I'm cooking in 2.
Do we go on to the lentil chickpea step now, or I don't see when we put in our stock on my recipe? Because
I'm still working on the spices, basically pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger, and then sauteing for a couple minutes, and then.
Right.
But if you finish that, then yeah, lentils, chickpeas, canned tomatoes.
Okay. Thank you.
Did the lentils need to have been like soaked or anything? Because we didn't.
Mine have not been. So if we're in it together. I bet they'll cook like how the pasta, I think at the end you put it in without cooking, maybe it'll all cook up. I love this cinnamon. I rarely think to put cinnamon in like non-desserty type things, but it's always fun when you have it in a music.
I've actually started, whenever I make beans, like to go with tacos, like black beans, I usually just make them from a can, but I'll like add them to like a saucepan and add like a little bit of like chili powder, cumin, but also like a dash of cinnamon. And I found that that's like a really fun addition.
I love that. I love sprinkling it on roasted sweet potatoes too, even with like salted garlic powder, whatever you're doing in a savory sense, since cinnamon can add some nice mention.
So as a way to get to know each other and our kitchens, I thought we could just ask what is a favorite device in our kitchen, something that is a go-to or something that we love to use, or even something special that we might have. So I guess maybe I'll start. I hadn't thought about this before, but I don't know if you guys can see, there's a cupboard in my kitchen, and if you get closer, you can see that it's filled with teacups and saucers and a teapot and creamer and sugar. And this is something my dad actually bought when he was 20-something and studying in college in London. He was not married. He, had no intention of being married. He had come to study engineering, but he loved fine things, just beautifully designed and just exquisite pieces, not expensive, not fancy or designer, but just something that grabbed his attention. So he bought a tea set when he was in London. He traveled, I think, to Germany, found a tea set in the window, and went into the store and just sort of emptied his pockets, whatever little money he had from working odd jobs. He said, "This is what I have, and I would love this tea set." So the guy was so taken by this, 20-something fellow who just wanted this tea set. So he gave it to him. And my dad, so that was 60 years ago. My dad passed away last year. And my dad, my parents lived in so many different countries. From London, he went back to Bangladesh. He got married. They moved to America. In America, they've lived in 4 or 5 different states. So this tea set went with him everywhere. He would wrap it really well and box it really well, but he never had a cup of tea in it. It was just enough for him to look at it and smile and remember the time he bought it and just, delight in its beauty. So the last time that my dad visited me before he passed away last year, I sat him down and I did a whole high tea, and I took down his tea set and finally served him tea in this tea set he's carried around for 60 years. So that is definitely my most precious memory in my kitchen.
Wow, what a beautiful story. That's just
amazing story. I love that. Wow.
I know, but we should have made her go last, because now my talking about my blender is not really that thrilling,
I'm gonna give Danielle this pot that she's cooking in right now. So she'll have this memory forever.
Actually, this isn't in my current kitchen, but something that reminded me of is that I think great aunt Mimi's blender was in Bonnie's apartment or Bonnie's house. So my great aunt passed away a number of years ago, and my aunt had her blender and like a lot of other stuff that was like in my aunt's house. And when I lived in New York, my aunt lived in Long Island. My aunt would try to just like give me stuff, and she kind of pushed on me this blender that probably, I don't know, was from like decades ago to begin with. But it was really useful. I really enjoyed having the blender around, and I made a lot of smoothies with it. And when I was moving out of New York, I had packed up my whole apartment. The whole place was empty, and I was doing one last swoop through the place. And I saw that the blender was still in like the very back of one of the cupboards, and it was the last thing. And I was like, oh man, like I'm leaving at like 6 in the morning. what do I do? And I texted one of my friends who lived in the neighborhood, and I was like, hey, like, do you want a blender? And she was like, sure. And it was this like pouring, raining day, like the sun had set, and I walked in the rain carrying this blender, like with my jacket over it to like capture, you know, to protect it from the rain. And I gave it to my friend, and now she uses it all the time and always sends me pictures when she like makes smoothies or uses it for sauces. And it's just like the traveling blender that's brought all this joy to all these people.
Whose blender was it?
It was my mother's sister, Mimi, who actually I made her latkes last night. So these latkes, that her recipe was out on the table. So
that's a great story. I love that.
I found something maybe my mom can explain, but this is my great-grandmother's wooden spoon. That's kind of all I know about it, so maybe Mom can say more. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Like, she was a wonderful lady, I'll say that. She lived to be 104, 102? 104. She lived in 3 centuries, which is pretty cool. She was born in 1899. She died in 1899 plus 104. And this was her, Mom, what else do we know about it?
Oh, so this came to me in a box of things that some of her grandchildren who live in New York were going through her effects after she died. And of all the things I got, you know, jewelry and things, this is my absolute favorite thing. And we use it whenever we're cooking something really special, and it's our good luck spoon. And it just makes me so happy that this was the spoon that she used.
We can give our soup a stir.
So we'll definitely give our soup a stir with it. But every time I try something I'm a little nervous about or anything, I always take it out, and it's like my good luck omen, and it reminds me of my Oma, and yeah, it's very, very special. And you had a food blog at one point. Marissa had, were you in high school or even middle school, I think, or college? That she called the wooden spoon, the little wooden spoon, the small wooden spoon, right? That was since discontinued, but it was after Oma's spoon. So
I love that. Carol, can you take a picture of Marissa holding that spoon in her?
Oh, sure.
Or stirring with that spoon. I'd love that.
And just a quick update on the recipe. I'm at the stage of having added the lentils, chickpeas, canned tomatoes, parsley, and half the cilantro, and now it's cooking over a little bit.
gotta hurry up.
No rush, no
Oh,
rush.
everyone take, the soup moves at its own pace.
Yeah.
It's its own beast. But yeah, I've just added the tomatoes also, and I'm adding the other things in that step slowly but surely.
It's a really pretty color.
And it smells great over here. I don't know, hopefully it's smelling good in your kitchen. Oh, I gotta open up the other side.
So the lentils are raw, right? Or did you pre-cook them?
I didn't soak them at all. I'm just putting in.
Raw for me.
Okay. My assumption, anyone can correct, is that they'll soak up a lot of the liquid as we keep adding various liquids to the soup.
Okay.
Another ingredient question about the onions. 6 large onions. I have 6 large onions. Is everybody using 6 large onions?
I cut it back to 4 because it is huge.
Yeah.
No, we had some small onions, so it wasn't too much, but I'm not the one who chopped them, so I really shouldn't be saying that.
And I have a question. Can you substitute regular lentils for the red lentils?
Yo, yes, definitely.
Last week, someone, I don't remember who it was, said, soup is really forgiving. You can substitute whatever you want. You want to put in 10 stalks of celery, that works. I mean, whatever.
I think there's no wrong way to make a soup, you know? You have a lot of license.
What's so beautiful about soup, right? It's very forgiving and flexible.
My dad doesn't like garlic, so there's no garlic in my soup. Danielle, you omitted cilantro, I think, for similar.
Yeah, we have 2 anti-cilantro people in this household who shall remain unnamed. But so
but they're married, I'm guessing.
Does anyone else have any really special kitchen items that are meaningful to them?
Has anyone made any special dishes over the quarantine? Maybe something that takes a little longer. Maybe you went to make bread. Any quarantine cooking adventures?
Forget that. I'll go back to the special item. I have my grandmother's chopped liver, the meat grinder, the old meat grinder. And it's like, it's a pain in the neck, and I never remember how it goes together, and you have to clasp it to a countertop. But I can remember her making chopped liver with this thing. I also have a Jell-O mold, and I hate Jell-O. So it's like a metal Jell-O mold, but it's so beautiful that I feel like I should.
And that's those 60s Jell-O, right? Those Jell-O molds. I mean,
oh,
that
this is older than that. I think it's.
Marge, did you show us? Is it?
I think it's downstairs, but let me double check and see if it's in this cabinet here.
Okay, only if it's easy.
Yusuf here has a story from the kitchen.
Oh, tell us, Yusuf.
So this is a spoon from when my parents got married, and in Turkey. No, we didn't get married in Turkey. It's our honeymoon. I mean, they got it in Turkey, and I like tea, and I like the spoon because I like tea.
You like what?
Tea.
Tea.
You could show it closer.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Thanks, Yusuf.
Beautiful. Sheila, you ready? We can't hear you. You're right, but you're not muted.
Are you connected to audio, Sheila? Sometimes there's like something that comes up and you have to like opt in to connect to audio.
We can't hear you, Sheila.
Maybe sign out and try back in again.
Marge was talking about her chopped liver. This is my grandmother's chopped liver bowl.
Wow.
And it's got years of flavor in it. And I haven't used it for a while, but there's also like I don't know what you call the chopper thing, but that's, yeah.
That's cool.
But she's got, wow.
Wow.
I mean, can you make a filter fish with that?
Oh, Marge, you're on mute.
Marge, you're on mute.
She may have made gefilte fish with this because she did make her own, but this was definitely a liver thing. I mean, I can remember the liver coming out and the hard boiled. It's kind of gross. It's like worms coming out. But the Jell-O mold is probably hiding downstairs. Maybe when we're simmering.
Where's the butternut squash going?
So I have an item in my kitchen that's brand new this year. It's my cookie press to make spritz cookies, and I got it from OXO, but it's sadly a replacement for the one that I've been using that belonged to my mom that she had gotten for either an engagement or a wedding present. And I was so bummed when it finally broke a year ago, but I wanted to make sure I kept on the tradition of making the cookies. So I've got the, I don't want to say new and improved version because it's probably not going to last that long. But I can still make cookies anyway.
What is it, Denise? A cookie mold?
It's a cookie press. It's like a tube that you fill with the cookie dough, and it's got a little lever, and you can use different plates to make different shaped cookies. So it's like an extruder. So
and
Christmas trees.
Is there a special cookie recipe that goes with it that your mom used to make?
I'm sorry?
Is there a special cookie recipe your mom used to make?
No, just the one that comes with the box. Because I was using the recipe that came with hers all those years, and then I got this new set to replace it, and it's the same thing. It's very simple. It's just a butter cookie.
I remember making those as a kid and putting like food dye in it because it was so cool to make like green. There was one that had these little bluey things on top. They weren't shamrock, but it was like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Let's make green cookies.
Yeah, I should probably think of it at other times of the year, but I only take it out at Christmas.
I have this teeny baby fork that was my mother's baby fork, and it has her name, her initials engraved in it. And I keep thinking, like, the Consumer Product Safety Commission would never authorize this today. It's so sharp. Like, you never see the baby thing. But this
That's
is
so
what they
funny.
use. So I use it sometimes, like for, you know, canapé or something, to because
Yeah.
it's fun. But I would never give it to a baby.
Yeah. Marge and Denise, could you take pictures of your items too? I'd love to get those.
Oh, sure. I don't have the old one anymore, but I have to clean up the new one because I was cooking with it today, so I'll get you one.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, not all the parts are dishwasher safe, or it would be clean by now.
And if you're in the picture, that's even better.
Okay.
So let's not talk about this. I'm not taking pictures with anything. You've all seen, well, certainly Deb, you've seen my phone because it's been around for 15 years. Everyone has seen my phone. We don't do well with pictures.
Well, I'm really new here, and I would be delighted to share some information about.
Will you tell us your name?
Sure. I'm Lainey Nazare, and I live in Reston, Virginia.
Oh, welcome, Lainey.
And I'm delighted to be here with you all the second time. I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston, and we do a Culinary Connections program, and I've looked a lot at your site, but not been able to participate. And some of your ideas I kind of want to import to Virginia. But for right now, about an object, I can't say this for sure, but this bowl, it says on the back of it that it was made in Bavaria, Germany. And my family fled during the Holocaust. In 1940, they came, and obviously without their belongings at that time. But the maid saved some of their things. And after the war, she sent, mostly it was tablecloths. So I'm not quite sure how this arrived, but I have a feeling that it could have been sent by the maid, or maybe my grandmother bought it here. I really don't know the story, but I like to think that it represents, and it's a soup bowl, I like to think that it represents the good-hearted maid who took it upon herself to save as much as she could of my family's things.
Amazing.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Story.
Huh.
Wow.
Marge, if you want to hold up that meat grinder again, I'll get a picture since you don't do pictures.
Where did I put it away?
Well, get it out again.
Yes, ma'am.
Sheila, how's your sound coming?
How's what coming?
Your okay, let me get Marge.
Is that a good?
Well, wait, move it away from your face a little bit. No, I want your face in there.
Forget my face.
No, I'm not forgetting your face.
Oh.
Can you move it a little? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Marge.
Got it?
Yep.
Yay.
Does anybody have one of these?
Oh, a press, a potato press?
No, this is a spatula maker from Germany.
A what?
A spatula maker where you make spatula. Some people call it spatzel, but it's spatula. And this is also a grandmother from Germany brought from there. And you make an egg dough that you put inside, and you press it, and you need a lot of strength to push it through, and it makes a pasta, and it goes with like sour gratin or red cabbage, all that kind of stuff.
We are like visiting the home country here during Hanukkah. This is fantastic.
Right?
That's exactly what we have the same one.
Oh, you have one. Good job.
Oh, that's cool.
And you are so right about how much strength you need to do it. So much so that the Oma, whose spoon we have, when she was teaching my mom, who was her daughter-in-law, how to make spetzel, for her son, which was like a rite of passage if my mother was going to marry her son. She said, you never, never, never do this when you're pregnant, because she was so worried my mom would like hurt the baby because it
Yeah, I grew up thinking like just how little kids think. There was like a law against using one of these when you're pregnant. Like I just assumed that was like some public rule. And I found out it was just like a family rule. Now apparently it was just one thing someone said to someone one time. It's how family, you know, like,
This is a cheat. You're supposed to do it on a board with a little knife, and you cut each and every piece of pasta. This is a cheater.
Yeah, but she got one for all of the grandchildren. She had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grandchildren, and she got each of them a Spetzel machine because I guess she figured no one was going to do the chopping on the board.
It says 2 p.m. Mountain Time.
So over here, we just added some of our butternut squash to the pan or pot, large pot, and are adding some more stock.
The lentils, everything else is in there.
Yeah, I think most things are in. How's it going for everyone?
There we go.
I'm about to join you exactly where you are, Danielle.
It's a lot. It's thick.
Yeah, the water is necessary.
It's a strength exercise.
Okay.
How many boxes of stock is everyone putting in? I put in 2.
I'm gonna start with 2 as well and see how it goes.
Okay.
Gonna go for that equivalent of what the boxes of stock. We have like this thing called better than bouillon, I think, which like we add to water, which is stock equivalent. So kind of eyeballing the water amount, but I think around 2 boxes.
This is like a game changer because like, you know, you like never have stock when you need it.
You're out of stock.
I have this in, this is the vegetable one, but there's also a chicken one that's really good.
You know, there's a chicken one that's parve, so you can use it however you want. And that's what I use. It's great.
And this is a low sodium. There's a couple that are.
Oh, right. Mine is not.
Is that the better bouillon? Yes, I love that. I love that. How can it be chicken and parve? It must have.
It's not really chicken. It's fake chicken. It's consommé, okay? Looks like chicken. It's no chicken. But I want to know if anyone knows what this is, because I have never seen one of these before, and my mother pulled it out of somewhere.
Is it corn on the cob?
For cornbread.
That's exactly what it is. I had never seen such a thing. I don't remember my mother ever in my lifetime cooking cornbread. I have no idea sometimes where these things come from. You know? She's like, I don't need this anymore. It's like, okay, whatever.
Did anyone else have favorite kitchen things? It now does not have to be a beautiful family story. It can just be Deb, and that immersion blender looked pretty beautiful to me.
Also, any like useful tips of things that we should be using to make our kitchen life better, much appreciated.
So the last few weeks, people were talking about the items that they were using, and people were talking about the hand blender, which I think is just like the best thing ever, because when you try to pour hot soup into your big blender, there's always a disaster story. So this is a really cool thing. We were talking about the Instant Pot, which is pretty fun. And there was someone on the call who isn't on today named Annette, who was a Pampered Chef hostess or salesperson, and she ended up, because of hearing that people wanted to buy an Instapot or this or that, she went ahead and created a fundraiser for KindWorks. So I put her information in the chat, and if anybody wants to pick up whatever they were looking for and spoke to her about that day or whatever you're interested in, she'll donate a portion of all the sales to KindWorks. So don't buy anything you don't need, but if there's anything you do need, I love this thing. This is not a Pampered Chef, but she does carry them. This is a Cuisinart, and it's fantastic. You put it into your soup pot, you press a button, and it blends like professionally. It's fantastic.
You put her information somewhere again, because I was going to try and find her, but I couldn't.
It's on the chat. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I got on early and put her information in the chat for this fundraiser.
Okay.
Pampered Chef, Annette. Yeah.
Speaking of the Instant Pot, did anybody use the Instant Pot for the wild rice recipe? Because it also on that website chose to use that, and that was like everybody loved that one in my household. They want more. So thank you, Salma. That was great. Or tell Sonia it was the favorite so far.
Mm-hmm. Something that's really simple but saves a lot of time is the Williams-Sonoma has a little kit of a zester and a peeler, and the peeler has lasted me for like 10 years, and it is just instantaneous, and it really saves a lot of time struggling with some of the other ones that don't work as well. And it's
Can I see it? Can we see it, Marcia?
I think I have them here. Yep. So like this is the peeler, and there's a zester, but and there's another one, an orange one that I don't see, but they've lasted forever. They don't rust, and it's like, it's magic.
Good to know.
I will also vouch for the Williams-Sonoma garlic press. I don't have it here because, as I mentioned, my dad does not like garlic. But in New York, we just like splurged, I don't know, it was maybe $30, which seems like an absurd amount to spend for garlic press. But I swear it makes, you always kind of dread pressing garlic. Maybe that's only me, but like it's just going to take so much. And this one is just so nice. It like presses on one side, and then it has this contraption where it kind of pushes out the mush on the other side within the same device. And so, yes, Deb, that's it. That's exactly it.
What's this brand? What's this brand? They need a garlic press.
I think it's Williams-Sonoma. Is that, Deb, is that what yours says?
This one's OXO.
Oh,
but
maybe
made exactly like what you're talking about too.
Yes. Isn't it just great? It makes the anxiety about pressing garlic so much less for me.
I'm an anomaly. I really like chopping up garlic. Like, I know that it makes your hands like smell for days and everything, but there's something really satisfying to me about using like a big sharp knife and just getting it like super minced.
Do you smash it on the thingy first and then?
Yeah, I like smash it to like peel it more easily, and then I'll do it for like each of the clothes that I'm doing. And I love garlic, so I'll put like I'll double the amount of garlic in something just because I'm like, it's not garlicky enough. And then I'll
I have two things.
Danielle, how do you get the smell off your finger?
I don't. If anyone has tips, I've heard lemon is like a good way to go about it, but I kind of like the smell.
I use the garlic press to squeeze the lemon. We were putting lemon juice in something last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, and I used some preserved lemons in addition to lemon juice, and then I put them in, even the regular lemons, I put them in and it'll squeeze out the juice, which is kind of cool.
That's a great tip.
So it works for that, and then you can clean your hands off and still feel like you're using a garlic press.
What about any suggestions on knives that are like sharp enough to do like the mincing and cutting onions and stuff? This is not the knife to use with the broken thing, and it's a bread knife, but for some reason I love to cut everything with this knife.
And wave the knife around to people next to her.
But I think there's a better one out there for me. No knives.
I bought those cheap ones from Costco a couple of years ago, and they came pretty good. The little green one is the one I use if I want to cut the garlic as opposed to.
You all sharpen your knives. That seems like such an adult thing to do, and I just feel like I have not gotten to that point yet, and I really need to for how much I enjoy cooking.
I'm the same way. I haven't gotten there yet either, but I'm going to someday.
Yes, you and me both.
Yeah.
I think if you do it, you find a big difference. And they say it's safer even because you don't have to make that sawing motion to cut something. It's just going to be cut and done. So yeah, I would invest in something for that.
Trying to get I did buy the pre-chopped butternut squash, but the pieces were so big, so I was still doing a little more, and I just thought, this is like kind of dangerous. Like if I had a sharper knife, I think it would have been.
Yeah, it does help.
The garlic, my mom was like, do we need to sharpen those knives? So I guess that she's a knife sharpener.
I have a tip to share, and it's about garlic. And I just happen to be doing it right now, so I'm going to show you. If you can see, it's the food processor. And I bought 3 bags of peeled garlic from Whole Foods that looks like this. And I dumped them in the food processor with the metal blade, and that chopped all of them. And then
oh no, you got muted.
You're on mute.
Sorry. So then you add it to a plastic Ziploc bag and you freeze it like really thin. I'm going to show you what I mean. This is what I've done with extra tomato paste. You know, you freeze it really thin and then you can crack it when it's, because it's frozen. But, and then you've got a supply forever. And if they run out of garlic during the pandemic, you're just fine and your garlic will get green. And besides which, well, I happen to be a nutritionist. I can tell you that you should always bruise the garlic and cut it really fine for nutritional reasons, because there's a reaction between 2 chemicals in the garlic that needs to occur in order to produce the anti-cancer benefits. So you should let it sit out there for at least 10 minutes before you freeze it and cook with it. So that's the tip for nutrition and saving time with garlic.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
I had tried once in grad school, Danielle, you may remember this, to buy the pre-minced garlic from the grocery store, and it just was not doing it for me. It wasn't quite tangy enough and flavorful enough, but I bet doing it fresh like that and freezing it would be a lot better.
Yeah, it's great. It's really strong garlic. And so when you buy those garlic preparations with the citric acid and the liquid, that's a different taste. This is pure garlic.
Also, it's such a good tip to, you know, like do it flat, because I've tried to, you know, like freeze tomato paste before, but I don't like smush it before I do it. And then I always am trying to like chop it off with an unsharpened knife. So being able to just like crack it is such a nice way to go about doing it.
Freeze it really flat. Yeah. And when you're freezing it, if your freezer's like mine, it's got a lot of things in it, so then take a really thin cutting board and freeze it right on that cutting board so that it, you know, won't be this big lumpy frozen things that would have taken the shape of what's below it in the freezer.
So awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I took a look at my favorite knife. It was a gift, so I don't know how much it costs, but the brand name is Shun, S-H-U-N, and it's like the only, we probably have a dozen knives. It's almost like the only one I use. So I love it.
Thank you.
Maybe ask her for your birthday or something. I don't think it's cheap, but it's been really good.
Where'd you
there you go.
Where did you get this knife?
Probably online is the best way. Like I said, we got it for a gift, so I imagine some of the stores might have it too.
I think maybe Williams Sonoma, I might have purchased one of those for a wedding gift recently.
Oh yeah.
They are very expensive.
Are they?
One knife was the gift.
Oh, geez.
So for those of you that want to know about sharpening knives, the brand that I use here at home is the Zwilling Henkels, and usually they have like a little red symbol, looks like 2 guys with their arms up standing side by side. They actually make a knife sharpener, and it's really easy to use. You just put this flat part on your counter, and below each slot here on the flat part down here is a 1 and a 2. And basically you take your knife and you put it, let's see here, and you put it in the little slot, and you pull it back like 5 times in the 1, and then do the same thing in the number 2, and you have a sharp knife. It's simple. It's not a days-long project. It takes like literally 20 seconds to sharpen a knife, and goes right back in the knife jar, and it keeps your knife sharp.
Brad, did you say that was made by Henkels?
Yeah, it's also made by Henkels, Zwilling Henkels.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Don't
Sorry,
you,
Lisa.
don't you have to use water to sharpen knives? That's what I read. I don't
You
know.
do if you have like a whetstone. You can use it for
Oh.
whetstone. This does not require that.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thanks.
So is it only straight edge knives or also serrated that you could do with that?
I've never used it for a serrated knife, but you should be able to. It's just a simple, there's two blades on each side that goes in there. So you should be able to do that.
I've only used like this kind of thing where you know.
That, yeah, the back and forth.
Don't worry. But then I don't know if you need to like wash the blade off, because whether there's little shards of steel or something.
Always recommend you wash it off after you sharpen, no matter with what.
So I'm glad that Brad and Sheila got their sound working, because can now introduce all of you to one of our future chefs. They're going to cook who is it?
Lynn.
Aunt Lynn's favorite white chili. So in 2 weeks, I think, Brad and Sheila will be cooking white chili with us, and it's Aunt Lynn's favorite. So we'll hear the story behind that, and I'm excited about that. We are coming to a close, and I think we all have a lot more cooking to do still, right? We're going to add the pasta and cook more.
Yeah, so it seems, at least from over here in our pot, it's just simmering away, and it seems like a bit of time left, but like a low effort bit of time.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna let it simmer for a little bit more, add the pasta, and then let it simmer until the pasta just totally cooks. And then just season to taste after that.
Can I ask, and those of you who know me, Lisa Barber, how I cook will not be surprised, but I didn't really measure exactly what I really take seriously everyone who says, oh, it's very forgiving, don't worry about it. And I just kind of do it when I have, I've got ketchup, I can put it, whatever. But so my question is, I really wanted to, I think, unless you guys tell me not to, use my immersion blender because I love it so much, and maybe half of this soup I'd like to blend and leave the other half with the big chunks and the chickpeas. Do you guys want to talk me out of that, or should I just go for it?
I say go for it.
Chef Danielle gives 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up?
Total, 2 thumbs each.
Okay.
Okay, so very quick question. I only had 2 tins of chickpeas. Could I add more squash, or should I just wait and go to the store and get another tin of chickpeas tomorrow?
2 thumbs up, Joyce.
More thumbs up, Deb.
More squash?
Definitely more squash. That sounds great. That sounds really good.
Both, contributes to like the hardiness of it. So I think that's a totally good substitution.
Bring in that wintry sweetness and warmth. I think it'll be good. Oh my gosh, Lisa and Scott, that looks so good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see Lisa's and Scott's. Hang it up. Lisa, show it.
Yeah.
Go back.
Wow.
Oh,
She's such a good cook. Oy, oy, oy.
I love that pot too.
It's without pasta because they didn't have it. I can never get everything at one store, and after 3 stores I gave up, but I'll get it and put it in later.
What kind are you going to use?
I asked the chat, people were saying orzo. Is that correct?
But don't you want to be like me?
I think I'm going to actually leave it without pasta. I think it has enough going on without.
Okay.
Alphabets, that's fun.
What do you think about grinding some of this up? No? Leave it chunky? Yeah.
Chunky, it's supposed to be a stew.
Yeah, I know.
See, I was thinking the same thing as you, Deb, but that it might need a little pureeing. So I'm on the fence now. And I'm also not sure about the orzo. I have it, but now I don't know if I want it.
Yeah.
I think it's like, what do you want the desired texture to be? Are you in the mood for like a more stew situation? Or you want like a thicker soup?
Yeah.
No right way to blend it.
I'm always like looking for the compromise. I would take some of it and put it into something and try it. Do a little of it and see.
One portion, yeah. Just take a seat.
You ladies don't know how reckless I can be.
I do know you, Deb. You guys, and I've enjoyed all of your trials.
Aw, thank you.
And somebody had mentioned having this over pasta, so you could leave the orzo out, but just cook. I think somebody said couscous.
Nice.
Have it over pasta or couscous. That'd be a real nice meal.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Before we all leave, I just wanted to let everyone know who may not know that we have launched this KindDemic. You may be seeing posts on our social media, on Facebook at Do KindWorks, on our Instagram at Do KindWorks, and this soup making is part of the Kindemic, and the whole idea behind this Kindemic is to launch a pandemic of kindness. And so each day we're sharing one kind thing that we can all do, from making soup and sharing it to a whole host of other things. And some amazing things have been coming out of it. It has been so heartwarming to hear people's stories. You know, the people that we're sharing our soup with, what their reactions have been, various other projects that are going on. So please follow that on our social media, where we're sharing a kind thing you can do wrapped up in an inspiring story. So enjoy it, and please share it widely. You know, this soup making has been so much fun, and it's something that can be replicated in any community, in any city, in any country around the world. And you know, it helps us connect with each other and just feel like we're, you know, cooking together, even when we're distant. So I really hope this pandemic goes viral too. So help us.
That's great. If anybody would like to donate any of the containers of extra soup, if people in the Bethesda area, we have 6 drop-off locations at different people's houses, and we're trying to get a caravan or somebody, you know, who will drive things up there. But if anybody on here plans on going up to Black Rock, which is Germantown, it's just like 20 minutes from the River Road exit, you know, let me know, and you know, or let me know, and we'll try and, you know, get them over to someone who is going. But they could also use other donations: diapers, shampoo, toiletries, other food, perishable food, non-perishable food. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Are you doing this on Tuesday?
Somebody, I think, is going to drive up on Tuesday.
Okay, I'll get back to you, Cheryl.
I've been going up every week. I've been going up on Mondays. Last week I went on Tuesday. So I'm certainly willing
to take some more soups.
I would love to drop my soup with someone, to drop Marissa's soup, I should say, with someone, because we're both working full time. So if there's someone who's to whom we can drop it off, that would be great.
Where do you live?
Bethesda. I can drop it at your house easily.
Okay.
You guys are close. You guys are very close, the two of you.
Easier for me to do on a Sunday than during the week.
Okay. I live in Carter Rock, so.
Oh, perfect. Mary? Okay.
Marge. It's Marge.
Oh, sorry. I don't have my glasses on. M-A-R-J.
That's a J. It's a J. I can put a full name. I had a question for Sheila and Brad, though, about the chili, the white chili. Can we talk about white chili? Okay. So can you tell me what the ingredients are? Are you using chicken in there?
Yes.
And what else? And can I use chicken sausage instead, or?
Yeah, you could probably use chicken sausage, but he uses regular, just regular chicken. Actually, he uses the rotisserie chicken if he doesn't have any cooked already. But
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you cook it ahead of time. You cook the chicken ahead of time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's super simple. It's really tasty, and there's not too many ingredients.
So that's 2 weeks from tonight. What's next week? Do we have a soup next week? Does anyone know?
There is a soup next week. I saw it on the.
It's a mystery.
On the website. Can they use chicken?
Yes, we do have soup next week. It's I can't remember exactly, but it has sausage in it. It's on our website.
So maybe I'll use the chicken sausage for that and make chicken for the other. Okay, I'll look at the new recipe. I'll look at them. Thanks.
Sure.
Next week is Teresa will be leading us in a Chilean recipe that looks absolutely delicious. And Teresa had picked out this one, but she's going to be leading us on the next one. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Happy Hanukkah to everyone who's celebrating, and happy week to everyone.
Thanks to our chefs.
Thank you. Thank you,
Don't forget
chef.
to send me what you're delivering and any pictures and any stories that you hear from people that you share your soups with. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Deb, can you send my information to Carol Weil, who looks like she may have already dropped off? Oh, there you are. You're still there.
Thank you. That would be awesome.
Okay, let me put it in the chat. Don't disconnect yet.
Okay.
What?
We're here. We're not going anywhere.
Here it is.
Thank you so much, Marge.
No problem. Just send me an email, okay, and we'll decide what we're doing. And
Okay.
it's, oh, you can't read. MSKLEIN424@AOL.com. Okay?
msklein424@aol.com. Got
Yep.
it.
Okay. So send me an email and I'll do something. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. No problem. Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
If Danielle, oh, Cheryl signed off. Anyway, thanks. Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So much fun.
Wait, can we get a picture of Marissa and Danielle somehow, like a Zoom picture?
I'll ask Danielle to sign back on.
And then we'll take a picture with this over FaceTime. I can just, because I was going to chatter anyway.
Okay, so you're gonna do it, or should I have her come back on?
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me see if she can come back on. 1 second.
Okay. Oh, Azure is on.
Yeah.
When did she sign on?
He has been the whole time.
I did not notice.
Should I close?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Danielle says she's coming. Oh, there she is.
We're back.
There you are.
Wait, we need your hat back on.
No.
Danielle, you were fantastic. Thank you so much. Both of you are amazing. Yeah, no, it looks fantastic. You got to trust me on this.
Marissa, your hair looks so much better than mine. Like, how did you?
No, it does not.
Can you
know
turn
what?
it
Cuff it down a little bit.
You guys were
Flatten
both
it.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys are fantastic. How can I get the two of them next to each other?
Just the two of them. I'll leave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everybody else sign off. I gotta disconnect Azure because she's gone.
Okay, thanks again.
Video.
Bye.
Ugh, now it's got her name. How do I just actually, oh, remove. That's rude. Sorry, Azure, but I'm removing you, girl. Remove.
Bye, Azure.
All right. And then I have to remove me, but then I can't get you guys.
You can, there's a view without yourself in it.
No, because all it does is make it, oh, really? A view?
What are you thinking of?
I'm not sure, but there is a view where you,
I think you can.
over there.
Hmm.
No.
All right, well, I'm in it too. Ready, ladies?
Yeah.
I'll just take the two of you.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, I've got just the two of them. This is good. Taking a diagonal.
Now we can see your head.
All right, thanks for being lovely. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for leading us.
Thanks so much for inviting us to do this.
It was so much fun to get to know you guys a little bit, and I look forward to more.
There were so many people on here. You've started an amazing thing. Everyone was so happy, and it was just great to see like people who are from different like sectors coming together. So
Isn't it fun? So nice to like build community like that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's really
So fun.
impressive. Danielle and I were saying like we kind of, because our moms have been doing this kind of stuff like forever. We just like take it for granted. But when we step back and think about it, it's like so special that we grew up with this kind of thing. So we'll definitely pay it forward.
That was the idea. We were trying to infiltrate your minds with kindness.
I think that's like all of parenting.
Community
though,
service and.
It worked. You're both lovely. Thank
I
you.
work for one of my kids.
We'll get the sons on later.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, ladies. Enjoy.
Bye. Bye.